I'm going to call this meeting of the,
No, your screen down. There you go.
okay, let's try this again. It's still awfully loud. I'm going to call this session of the Hamilton City School District Board of Education open. We will begin with our work session agenda, and first up is Mr. Holbrook.
Thank you, President Baker. Tonight, what I would like to do is share the results of the 2023 state report card with the board, and you're going to see some really amazing results. Before I start, what I want to do, I want to compliment the entire Hamilton community. And when I say community, you know, our teachers have worked extremely hard to get the results that we've gotten, but it takes an entire community. You know, we need our transportation folks and our bus drivers to get kids to school. We need our grounds and classrooms to look nice with our maintenance and custodial crews that do that. We need to feed our kids and make sure they're properly nourished, and our food service workers, our educational assistants, our media center specialists, our administrators, and the Board of Education has allowed us to do some of these things to get the results that we've gotten. So when I say the entire educational community, you know, it takes a large group of people to move that. And we can't forget that our parents have a significant influence in this as well. So when we talk about these results, it's taken the buy-in from a large group of individuals in order to get these results that I'm going to share with you tonight. I want to go back to 2019, 2020, and I want to go back to our vision statement. And we lived this every day. And we made a priority on student growth and engagement, safety, and fiscal responsibility. And I think the results that we're going to show you tonight have, you know, reinforced that student growth, especially in the classroom, is something that we have focused extremely hard on. And some of the other results that we have gotten is because our students have grown. In 2022-23, the state report card changed a little bit, and that report card went from a letter grade system to a numbering or star system. So it went from getting grades A through F to getting a star and a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star, and you can get partial credit for those. Basically, that is the scale that the state uses, and the meeting state standard, you know, litmus is that 3-star. Anything 3-star or above is meeting or exceeding state standard. We have 3 schools that exceeded the state standards. Hamilton High School, and Hamilton High School also includes our freshman building. And I think that's an important factor to say, is that high school is encumbered of a 9 through 12 experience, and students can take classes anywhere on that continuum. So our freshman campus is included in those numbers. Ridgeway Elementary, which you're going to hear from a little later tonight on an update, was a 4.5-star elementary, and Wilson Middle School was a 4-star middle school. Every single one of our buildings beyond those 3 either met or was slightly above state standard. We did not have a building in the district below state standards. State report card basically looks at the following things. They look at achievement. That's basically a test score. Did a kid score an 80%? Did a kid score 60%? It's progress, which is where we have really focused in on how much did a student grow in a year. And we want every student to grow a minimum of 1 year in a 12-month period of time. You know, and you're going to see that in many cases and in many buildings, students grew more than a year. And, you know, that impacts every single student. I don't care if they're a high learner or a learner that is struggling a little bit. You know, that's going to benefit any type of learner. Gap closing is, did we close the gap on subgroups? And when I mean subgroups, did our special education students grow? Did our English language learners grow? Did all those various subgroups that we have, did those subgroups grow at the same or similar or greater pace than all the students at large? Graduation rate is how many students did we graduate from the cohort 4 years ago? And finally, early literacy, how well did we do in the K-3 piece on when students entered in kindergarten, were they off REMPS, which is an improvement plan, by the end of third grade? The achievement calculation talks about performance index. And the calculation for performance index is pretty complicated, but there is the calculation for that. And you can see what the district's performance is in performance index. And you can see the better a student does, the greater the weighting the student receives. And you can see that performance index is calculated by, the one thing that's a little different with this calculation is the fact that in the past, the max score was 120. No school in the state of Ohio got 120. So starting this year, the max was the highest school in the state of Ohio, and they based it off of that because they made it an impossible task, and that would be every single student in your building scoring at the highest level possible. Progress measure, overall progress, and how that is measured, and this is where we have really placed our value. I got something wrong with my presentation. Hold on 1 second, I apologize. We're going to go back and talk a little bit about the 5 components and how they're weighted, and I apologize for that. Each of those components are weighted at a different weighting, and the biggest piece on this is that we've focused in on progress, as I've spoken about, which is growth. At the elementary level, obviously they don't have graduation rates, so that isn't being calculated. But what is being calculated is 4 other components: achievement, progress, gap closing, and early literacy. So each elementary is weighted a little differently than our middle schools and our high schools based off the component in that particular building. At all 8 of our elementaries, and I think this is a really important component, we have focused on growth. In 2015-16, you see the results that we had in the state report card, and we knew we had to do something different. I think you've heard the phrase a million times, the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. We had to do something different, and we had to do something in which we knew that we could achieve. To tell a 7th grade teacher to take a 1st grade student and have them reading at an 8th grade level in 9 months is not an achievable goal. But I can tell you to have every single kid grow an entire year during the time that you have them in your classroom is an achievable goal. And so we started there, and we started building that mindset. And we started building that mindset with people. And as we continued to get success, we continued to see progress with our students. Prior to COVID, we had a C on that state report card. And in 2015-16, we started at an F as a district on that. So we were making progress. That was the last state report card we received until this one. And we really kind of knew what our internal measures were telling us. but I had no idea how we were in comparison to other districts and until now. So all of our elementaries at least met state standards. You see Brookwood at 3.5 stars, Linden at 3.5, Ridgeway at 4.5, and Riverview at 3.5 that were slightly above that state standard average, and the rest were at state standards. At the middle school, they don't have an early literacy component and they don't have a graduation component. So they only really get measured off of 3 different components: achievement, progress, and gap closing. And as you can see, Garfield Middle School, in 2015-16, and Wilson, we were struggling. And right now, Wilson is a 4-star middle school, and Garfield Middle is a 3.5-star middle school. And then going back to the high school, they have an additional component that the middle schools don't have. They have graduation rate, but they don't have an early literacy rate, obviously. So graduation rate is factored into our Hamilton High School, and I want to reiterate, the high school does include the 9 through 12 campus. Hamilton High School, once again, in 15-16, we were really struggling. And this year, Hamilton High School was a 4.5 out of 5-star high school. And that's a pretty impressive rating with us. Overall, as a district, we rated at 3.5 out of 5 stars. And, there's still some work to be done, but we are certainly, we talk about Big Blue on the move, and we use that phrase. We are on the move, and we are on the move in a positive direction. We always like to compare ourselves with other districts to see if we are meeting or exceeding what others are doing around us. And I also think it's important to compare us with comparable districts, both in size as well as socioeconomic in that. So the first thing I always call the Butler County Big Four. There's 4 large districts in Butler County. There's Hamilton. There is Fairfield. Fairfield was a 3.5 star. There's Lakota. Middletown's 2 stars. And Lakota's 3.5 stars. So we're right there with every single large district in Butler County, and we are being very competitive with those larger districts. I think another statistic to share with you is that the state does a similar district comparison. What are your 10 most similar districts in the state of Ohio? When you calculate size of districts, demographics, and all of those different components. There are our 10 most comparable districts. There is not a district in the state of Ohio above 2.5 stars in our 10 most comparable, except Hamilton. We're at 3.5 out of 5. And as you can see that list there, there's only a handful at 2.5, and the rest are at 2. So we are certainly outperforming significantly similar districts. I also think what's important is, how's our high school doing with other comparable GMC high schools? And you can see from the list of the high schools in the GMC that we are performing most favorably in that area as well. And so overall, we're pleased with the progress that we've made on the state report card up to this point. We know there's still more work to be done. We need to celebrate those successes, but yet we can't lose the focus of still trying to get better. And I think it's re-energized many of our buildings and many of our staff members. I mean, you work so hard. Everybody has worked so hard. And sometimes you need a win. You need some affirmation that all your hard work has paid off. And it's been so difficult during the last several years due to the fact that it was kind of like scrimmaging ourselves. We knew internally we were growing, but we didn't know in comparison to others. And I couldn't be prouder of how we've handled these things and how our staff has completely stepped up and we've gotten those results. And so, as we move forward, I think steady is really important. I think consistency is really important. We've looked at some of those areas that we need to improve in. And, I am in the middle personally of having discussions with every single building principal. I've done all 8 elementary principals at this point, and we're talking about the data. And we're talking about what the data says, what do we need to continue to do that's worked well? What are some things that we need to look at and dig deeper into? Some of those are system-wide challenges that we need to look at as a district. Some of those may be building-wide challenges. Some of those may be individual classroom challenges. But identifying what those are and let's dig deep into there and improve those things, because at the end of the day, this is all about improving the quality of education for our children. And I couldn't be happier with the product that we're producing through this district right now.
Yeah, Mr. Holbrook, I can't tell you how proud I am of this district. Considering what a team you've put together, it's incredible. Even through COVID, I mean, that we got numbers like this. And so I just commend everybody that's been involved with it. And I'm one that likes to say if we put the work in the hands of the administration and we stay out of the way, and you guys prove that you really know how to get results. So, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you, Mrs. Baker.
Agreed. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was great. And just seeing those numbers and seeing our district close the gaps the way we have, like you said, during COVID, to be able to see those gaps being closed on our kids, it's the systems and the processes and the consistency that has happened over the years to be able to see that growth and to be able to now, like you said, to see it be able to kind of a little bit raise the trophy a little bit, it's always a good thing. And it's always an exciting thing. So hats off to all the teachers, principals, staff, everyone that contributed to this success for our district. And to be able to look at the Big Four and be able to stand toe to toe with them and to be able to say that we have a school district to be proud of is really something to be able to share and say to our city, like, hey, you have a district to be proud of, to educate your kids in. I was out in Costco's today, and I seen a lady with a Hamilton Big Blue shirt on. And I talked to her. I said, "Hey, Big Blue." She said, "Absolutely." Lynn, she said, "Highland." I said, "Mr. Bridge." She said, "Absolutely." So just those things. She was proud of her district, and so am I. So is everybody here that's been contributing. So thank you.
Well, I think one of the things that's been overlooked a little bit is during the COVID pandemic, one of the things that our staff stepped up and did is we had tons of teachers that were quarantined, that were out of the building. We had instructional coaches, we had central office employees, we had administrators step in to those classes so we could keep our doors open and continue to educate our kids. I think that was really, really, really important in the fact that there's no substitute for having students in a classroom in front of our teachers. It's our most valuable resource, and we had to do everything we could to create a situation where they were getting instruction every day. And I think that's paid some benefits. Now, it was hard at the time, and there were days when I didn't know if I was going to have to make a phone call and saying, we can't staff this building, but we were able to have individuals step up. And I think that's just a piece to it, but I think the reason I share that story, it shows a bigger commitment that our staff in general have to our students.
Mike, all I can say is awesome. I mean, it's, I was on the board previously back in, what was it, 2005 to 2010, and we struggled with our, report card every year. And I think it's important for the people out there to know, when you showed the similar districts, that's not a list that you went out and compiled. That's what the state, since when I was back here in 2005, those are the same districts that they've always compared us to. And for us to be at a 3.5 and the highest of the other ones is a 2.5 is just remarkable. And I commend you, and I commend our teachers in this district for the hard work and what they've done to get our students up where they need to be.
We've got a lot of really good educators in this district, and we're very, very, very fortunate, and we're driven. I'm never one that's real satisfied. I'm thrilled to death with our results. But we have a lot of teachers that are driven in the fact that they've seen their results and they've done extremely well. But you know what the next thing out of their mouth is? How can I continue to do better? And that's huge. They're excited, they're energized, and a lot of the folks that I've spoken to, they did very well with their individual students in those classrooms, and they're still driven to do better. I've said all along, If I'm not comfortable putting my own children in that classroom, then we're going to have a problem. And that's the litmus test that every single parent should use with us. Because if we aren't comfortable putting our kids in those classrooms, how can we go out and sell the product that we have? And I would put my kid in our classrooms.
Just to echo, it's always a lot more fun to be on the winning team. So,
Mike, I like to, as Mag said, and as my other colleagues have said, I think this is great. And the work that has been done, the attitude of, okay, this is the best we can get is gone. This is actually the attitude, we got this far, okay, well, we missed it by a field goal. We're going to get that field goal next time. We're going to get it next time. I really, everybody that has done something in this school district, and like you said, from A to Z, it's been just fantastic that we have come up this far. And I like the idea is, yeah, we're happy, we're proud, but we don't have the Super Bowl trophy yet, or we don't have the Major League trophy yet. And I have a feeling that within the next few years, this district will be here, you know. So it'll be there.
Slow and steady wins the race. You're not going to
Absolutely.
change something overnight, but this has been 7 or 8 years in the works. And-
Absolutely has.
And we have strategically looked for the right fits for positions. You know, it isn't necessarily, you know, we get a lot of qualified candidates for positions. Were they the right fits? Did they have a growth mindset? Were they going to embrace these things? Because that was our vision. And we weren't going to change that. And I think oftentimes when you don't have immediate success, we're in such an immediate success society that if you don't have immediate success, we jump to another thing. And you know, we knew what we were doing was going to yield long-term results. And I don't believe in short-term results. I believe in building a foundation and working off of that. And it's taking a while to get there. Our foundation is done almost being built.
Well-
Now we need to enhance and continue the robustness of it.
The one thing that you made the comment when you took over was, I'm going to put the right people in the seats. Now, there has been times that you had to move people and it wasn't a happy time, but I think that your attitude of putting the right people in the seats to lead the way, it has proven itself. So you've done an excellent job at leading this district, but they've also done an excellent job of following and embracing the same enthusiasm that you and others have got.
Yeah, we've got great people, and we've got people that are eager. We got people that are hungry. We got people that want to be successful. And when you have that, and you're driven in that direction, you know, makes my job a lot easier. But it makes success is going to come. Success is going to come when you have that type of individual, and we've got a lot of those.
Can I talk now? Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Having been around for a few years, and I know I use that jokingly a lot of times, but it's true, seeing this is just an amazing thing, and I think you can agree, Kathy. It's an amazing to see our district in this position, and I just want to thank you and the staff and everybody involved. I echo what everybody else has said. The state report card only takes a finite picture of place and time, but over time, our district has also done extremely well in the arts and sports and all these other activities that make us a comprehensive district that serves a lot of needs. And to see this area come up, it just floats all our boats higher. And it's a really cool district that I wish more people would understand that. And I think they are. Seeing the report card and what we're seeing now, it's all the things that go into a district. And over the years, we've always had that thing of what's best for kids. What's best for kids is giving them the step up they need academically, but also finding where they shine. And these opportunities are making our kids shine. And I thank you for that.
And I think everything that you mentioned complements what's going on in the classroom. I think learning happens in a variety of different forms. It does not have to be in the walls of a classroom for a student to learn. You're going to see tonight that I'm going to recommend a number of different field trips. Those are exposures for students. You've seen over the last several years our athletic teams traveling to different places. Those are exposures to those kids. Our band programs that get to go places. Our elementary, all of that's exposure, and we learn through experiences. You know, yes, you learn from what's going on in the classroom, but you also learn through just general experiences. And the more experiences we can give students, they're going to learn. And they're going to be eager, and they're going to want to come to school, and they're going to want to do those things. And school should be a place that they want to come to every day. And having those experiences helps enhance that mindset.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Holbrook.
Purple?
Aw. It's okay, Mike.
But I have clean.
Thank you.
We
Yeah.
won't. At this time, what I would like to do is we are starting our series of building updates, and I have here tonight the Ridgeway administration to talk to you about many of the good things that are going on at Ridgeway. And so I want to introduce Mrs. Wagonfield and Mrs. Snively, the principal and assistant principal at Ridgeway Elementary.
I'll just hold it. Well, I can, I really don't need it. Oh, I do. Yes. This is your lucky night because it's just the beginning of the year, so we don't have a whole lot to talk about, but we thought you would want to hear some things, so we're going to go back in time right now to last year, where we can kind of celebrate what we did at Ridgeway. You'll see that these are the district goals for last year. And these are our Ridgeway goals, and these are the goals that I had and Mrs. Snively had and the teachers did. Everybody's goals mirrored the district's. So that was a huge part in our success. Now we're going to talk about last year's map, kind of what got us those 4.5 stars.
So this is a snapshot of our building, and on our next slide, I'll explain by grade level. But on the left, from fall to winter last year, you can kind of see where our building was as a whole. And the red is our reading as a whole, and then math is blue. And then you can see where our dots moved further to the right and upward more. So that shows that we increased our achievement percentiles by the spring, because that's the end of the year last year on your right. And we also increased our growth overall. So it looks pretty much the same on the next slide. And this is by grade level. So on the left, again, this is fall to winter of last year, where all of our grade levels were in math and reading. And then similarly on the right is where we ended up at the end of the year. As you can see, all of our grade levels on the right by the end of the year were above that horizontal. I'm a math brain, so the horizontal axis there, that blue line straight across, is essentially 1 year's growth. And our expectation as a district, as a building, because we align our goals every single year, is to get above that line. You can see every grade level achieve that. And then also you can see our building as a whole, every grade level kind of shifts to the right. The further right you move, the higher percentile in achievement that we have had success in.
And last year's OST scores, in case you haven't heard, we got a 4.5 star rating, and we're really excited about that. We talk about it all the time. Go to the next slide if you don't mind, and you can see all of the areas and where we were. Very, very, very excited about that. And so moving on to this year, Our theme for this year is Be the Change. We all want to be, whether you're a student or a staff member, we want to be the change that we want to see in the world. So as teachers and administrators, we want to be this change that will help our students succeed and get even higher this year. And then the boys and girls, of course, we want them to be the change that they want to see in the world, whether it has to do with grades or kindness or perseverance, whatever their goals are. These are our goals for this year, and they do indeed mirror the district goals, and our teacher goals mirror our goals. We, I have to show photographs. And these are from last year. A lot of them are, because we haven't had a lot this year. But I just, kind of commenting on what Mr. Sprague said about fine arts. I'm a big fine arts person, big sports person, and we really, really like to be involved in providing all these opportunities for our kiddos. So here's just some samples. Our big musical that we have, we usually have it every 2 years or so, that we usually hold at Miami. Our Change for Charity collecting. This week we are collecting donations for United Way all week. Today I was so disappointed because I had to be here this morning and today, and it was my favorite dress-up day. It was Disney Day. I know. Tomorrow's Jammy Day, and I don't do that. But lots of fun things going on and promoting our community and kindness and compassion. Here we are very late in the school year. Actually, I think that was this summer. We had a group that worked with the Cube down on Millville Avenue. Our student council, which is now the student squad.
Yeah, so this is on your right, the GIF that's happening there. That's our Socktober event, which we are going to do again this year. But we try monthly to kind of do some service learning, and then also how can we make an impact in the community by serving others. So, we have Animal Friends Society, Humane Society that we donate to. There's the Caring Closet, lots of different places and people that we're able to touch just from our building and what our kids are working on. And so this year, we actually are kind of taking a different approach. Instead of student council, we're now going to be the 17 Strong Student Squad. So we are kind of meshing 17 Strong, and we're going to mesh student council together. And we actually announced their names this morning. So be on the lookout for that, because we have some great things planned, including grant writing and things of that nature.
And along with all of that, celebration's important. As Mr. Holbrook said, we need to take time to celebrate. Celebrate with the boys and girls. This is, that's me on the left and Hillary on the right, as we put ourselves in our showcases last December as the boys and girls arrived to school. That was one of our celebrations with the kiddos. This actually was this year. Our staff, it's very important for our staff to celebrate together. Actually, a couple of them were from a comedian that was at Taft, I think, last year. Probably 20 of us went to that, a comedian just for teachers. And the other pictures are from Escape Goats. We just went there a few weeks ago. 19 of us went there and out to dinner afterward at a local establishment. So again, and I think that bottom left one is the 6th grade teachers going to see Barbie together. So promoting that fellowship, that camaraderie, in that celebration. So we want to be the change this year. We really, really want to continue the progress, the achievement that we have made this past year. And so for the first time ever, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Yep. Coming spring of 2024, Ridgeway's going to get 5 out of 5 stars. You heard it here first. And that's all we have for you.
Mrs. Wagonfield, obviously, your 4.5 star rating speaks for itself and what you're doing at Ridgeway. Just congratulations to you and your staff and what you've been doing with our kids. And there's no doubt in my mind that you will hit that 5 star. Yep, so thank you.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Meg. You're a rock star, so you already know. I think you're definitely a rock star, and definitely your assistant as well. I almost felt like if it wasn't for expensive equipment and liability purposes, I almost felt like you needed a mic drop after you said 5 stars. But that's just me. So like a mic drop, which is real appropriate right there. But like I said again, always fun when I get to come over and visit at Ridgeway, all the great things that you guys have going on, and the themes, and just the students, and the kindness, and just how creative you are, just how you make learning so much fun. And the kids are able to adapt to that. They gravitate to that, and they love it, and I'm proud of their school. So I'm just, again, so thankful for you, having you in the district, and you're just infectious at what your staff and the camaraderie are. All that stuff is important, and it's those things to be able to get you 5 stars. So, love it. Thank
Mrs.
you.
Wagonfield, I've always enjoyed when you've come up and you've done these programs because you bring the enthusiasm. And I think that enthusiasm kind of trickles down in your school to everybody, including your teachers, your students, and anybody around you, the attitude that you put into it. And I wouldn't bet against that 5 stars if I was anybody.
Yeah, I want to congratulate you on the 4 stars. I did last week when, or 4.5, I'm sorry, last week. Yeah. I was at Grandparents' Day twice last week. Absolutely enjoyed it. Your building, the excitement in there, the children well behaved, a lot of commotion going on. The classrooms I was in, the teachers very enthusiastic. And I think they get that from the top, and it comes down, and you're leading a great building. You're out in the community, and I see you a lot out in the community, promoting the district and your building, and you've gotten your teachers out into the district, and I think that adds to the greatness of what's going on. I'm a firm believer that if we don't get to these children in the elementary level, then they're going to be behind moving on up, and you're making sure when they leave your building that they're on level, and I appreciate that.
And I apologize. You had to listen to my speech a couple times during grandparents. We have 4 days, because so many come. We have 4 different days, and I made them all sit there while I told them about our district's rating and comparisons and our school and the high school.
Use your microphone.
Oh, sorry. You're right. So
Steve will take it.
So every single day, they sat there, the grandparents, to listen to me, and so you had to hear it twice, but it was well worth it, and the grandparents love it. After about every sentence, there was applause. You know, whatever I was saying, they were applauding, and they were just amazed. So, thanks.
Kathy, great work. Great work to
Thank
you
you.
and your staff. I really like the student council doing more with 17 Strong, that giving back. I'm hearing you guys talk about what closet is that? I'm sorry.
Caring closet.
Closet and all these different things. And those students are learning more about their neighborhoods and their city. Having them involved is incredible. So I love the idea of the 17 Strong.
Thank you. That was
connection.
Hillary.
Thank you.
Great job.
Yep.
But thank you so much for sharing with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Kathy, you've had a day with me, being here
Sorry.
this morning for an hour or a little longer, looking at your school data, strategizing on how to go about getting that 5 out of 5. And your theme, Be the Change. I think that's important. And what I think is important with that is embrace the things that are going well, but yet look to change some of the things that we know need to be changed. And I think there's a happy balance there. And you do a great job with your staff balancing and celebrating those successes, but yet are still driven to do better. And I think that's a real healthy balance. And you've always brought that to the table. Regardless of what your scores are, you always want to do a little bit more. But it's more than just scores with you. It's that whole engagement piece with your entire staff and all of your students and the Ridgeway community. As Mr. Davison pointed out, you are out in the community. Your parents trust you. They know you. They see you. And I think all of those are critical components to leadership, especially at the building level. And I appreciate both you and Hillary and what you've done for the students at Ridgeway.
Thank you. And I just want to, as I leave, tell you that the Ridgeway staff is an amazing group of people, amazing group of people that really put everything into what they do. And I mean, there's heartache and there's all sorts of things that go on because we carry the kids' loads home with us. And I couldn't work with a better group of people. I really couldn't. So I want to give them credit.
Yeah, and to kind of bounce off Mr. Holbrook and Kathy there, you said if I wouldn't put my own kid in there, you know, what are we really doing here? You know, my daughter does go there, and I have 2 little ones at home that will be coming to Ridgeway as well. So, you know, I have full faith, and I tell my staff that all the time. Like, I bring my kids here for a reason. This is the best place to be in Hamilton and at Ridgeway. So I have full faith in them, and we reiterate that to them even at BLT this morning, that they are 5-star teachers, and we're going to get there.
Great job, thank you. I think next on our agenda, again, thank you, Mrs. Wagonfield, Mrs. Snively, is Mr. Sprague to talk about our TV Hamilton.
So board members, in front of you, you have a red line agreement for TV Hamilton. Every 3 years, we have to renew our agreement. This is with the city. We are equal partners with the city and the Hamilton Community Foundation. Each of the partners put in $40,000 each year. We have been at that number for a number of years through just good fiscal responsibility. One of the things that we've been doing is trying to find new revenue streams and developing kind of a mini partner type of situation with different entities in Hamilton to keep that money at that level. We have, and at the same time, we're trying to work smarter. As an example, in the room, we have 3 remote control cameras that Steve can control. And things like that used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and we bought that for $2,500. And it is utilized, I think we've used it at Rotary and a number of different events. So we are constantly being fiscally responsible with our funds and trying to stay ahead of the technology curve too. We also have received donations from some fans, so that always helps a little bit. And then as we're looking down through our future, one of the things that we're looking at, if you remember, the old city building is being considered for a hotel. That would necessitate TV Hamilton moving. We've been already on that. I think we're probably at least 2 years away from that, but we're already in talks with the city and moving to the city building, the corner of Martin Luther King and High Street. So we've had some really nice discussions with them. It would be a perfect location for the facility. But we are very, I'm going to say just very blessed that we have Steve Caldwell at the helm of TV Hamilton. He's the man that behind the scenes, and he keeps finding cool ways to do things instead of lugging huge cameras around anymore. Some of the things we're able to do with iPhones, the technology has come so far. And then we've also have Jeff Archibald, who is, I guess we'll call him the idea person more than anything else. But he brings a lot to TV Hamilton. So over the years, we've moved from just being this little afterthought to where people are really coming to TV Hamilton for business exposure, for what's going on in the schools, for what's going on in, just in the city. We do a lot of streaming of events, which really helps with people learning about Hamilton. And when we put something out there, it's on YouTube or Facebook pages or in any of those formats. it gets the word out about Hamilton. It really does, and people pay attention to what's going on here. And we've got some other tricks up our sleeves over the next few months that I'm kind of excited about. I won't go into those right now, but there's just a lot of neat things going on, and especially with the city the way it is, this keeps that going. That keeps us out there as a school board. So I entertain any questions you have about TV Hamilton or the agreement in front of you. You can see there's only been one partial change across out on number 6 about litigation, and we didn't fill, Steve Lampe has looked at this. That's where a lot of the
Dave.
correction. Dave, so what did I say, Steve? Dave Lampe has looked through this. So, and it's pretty much the same document that we've had since last year, for 3 years ago.
So, Mr. Sprague, the document, has the city been presented with this document? Because all of us have to agree on it.
All of us have agreed. Actually, the city approved it last night.
Okay,
What's the next step for us?
The next step is this will be presented at the public meeting next, in October for
Okay.
approval.
I think a community television station is, very, very important,
Yeah,
especially a community our size,
yeah.
a district our size. So I think Steve's doing a great job. We need to keep it going.
Well, you're talking about a TV, I mean, we're not your typical TV station because of how we do our formatting. But we also, people forget, we are also on regular Spectrum TV. And there's, movies and there's events that are constantly playing on that. And we're taking advantage of that. And when that goes down, we hear about it. Steve hears about it. I don't hear about it. Steve hears about it. Because people depend on that. The people love that station that provides a lot of different things. So.
Mr. Sprague, also on the foundation, I noticed it went from 30 to 40. Have they agreed to that yet?
Yes, they're going to 40,000.
Okay,
That's all I want to say, but I do appreciate them, because they're an important component of this too.
Right.
And we do appreciate them, being equal partners with us.
yep, okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I want to thank Lauren for.
Yeah,
being on the
spearhead,
board.
yeah.
Your hard work.
I tell people it's one of my favorite boards to be on because there's so many neat things going on with our schools and with our community, and just seeing how this all comes together. I know it was not always a lot of fun, but it has, working with Pat Moeller as mayor and representing the city, and Kathy Klink representing the Community Foundation. It's a really good team, and we've been able to do a lot of cool things.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sprague. Anything else? Okay, I think that does it for the work session. I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Sprague. Second, Mr. Isgro. Mr. Frazier.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Isgro?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.